Hey everyone, it's Arfan, and I am back with another guest expert interview for the Successful Lead Generating Coaches Show. And I have with me today Sonja. Sonja, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing extremely well. Thank you so much for being here today. We are going to have an interesting conversation. And prior to starting this, I was sitting here and me and Sonia were just talking and chatting, and I was sharing so much about the purpose of the show and why why it even exists. And I was just sharing like there's so much entrepreneurs, especially in that early phase where you're still maybe working a job while building your business. You may have actually already left and you're generating five figures, headed to six figures. But what you find out is you're coming across obstacles and you're taking the approach of I'm just going to go through it head first. And what I've discovered on my journey is that I've done that, but not realizing there's also a door just 2 feet over. And a lot of these conversations help to illuminate that there is a door 2 feet over that you can go through, and you can be able to get through obstacles faster, be able to grow your business, scale your business, and also feel much better as an entrepreneur. And that's an important one to feel much better. Because what me and Sonia are going to talk about today is a great topic. And what I say is great is because we came up with it for you guys specifically. And it's going to be stress free success, how to relax while thriving in business. And think about that. How many of you potentially right now, when was the last time you actually truly relaxed? When was the last time you actually truly took off the hustle hat and said, I'm going to chill? Or do you find yourself on vacation still trying to post on social media, so trying to respond to clients and so forth? Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to start turning it over to Sonia because she's the expert. I'm just going to be asking a few questions here too as well. And of course, interject because I have lots of story around this topic to share. So, anyways, before that, Sonia, can you just go ahead and just kind of fill us in a little bit? Tell us more about you. Just share a bit about your background and what led you to become a coach, just helping entrepreneurs with stress, anxiety, and overwhelm.
Yeah, so it all started with me being that person, trying to do it all, working the sun up to sundown. And I was well, still am, but was a full-time massage therapist I was. And so
Mm.
really I'm the deep tissue therapeutic, I'm here to help and fix you.
Yeah, those
So
are the
it's
best.
all about relieving, right? All about relieving that stress. And even I didn't realize that I was already coaching my clients during sessions because it all starts up here, right? That's why we get
Mm,
the tension in here. And realizing that, I was that overwhelmed person. I'm giving people all this advice and I'm like, oh my God, but I'm not doing it. And then I realized
mm,
one day, like, I can't keep going on like this. And I'm sure the viewers, there's people out there that realize or recognizing themselves that you're sitting there watching a movie, but you're on your phone, you're checking
mm-hmm,
emails, you're replying to text messages. And the worst part about that is having that disconnect with our friends and family. I mean, even myself, my boyfriend, a friend I'm having a conversation with picks up that phone. There's like a thing you feel like a little,
mm-hmm.
I don't know if hurt's the right word, but disconnected.
You
And
do,
so the
yeah.
relationships struggle, you're exhausted. Well, this was me, exhausted every day, trying to do all the things, you're trying to be all the people. And it's just like you can't. And then you wonder why you're not getting ahead in work. You're not, excelling. You're not opening the next shop or franchising or expanding or hiring. Well, how
Mm,
can you? Like you're up to here. Your bucket is full, as my naturopath says.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, just in your experience, because you've done a massage therapist as a coach, in your experience, what would you say are like some of the most common signs that an entrepreneur is struggling with, say, lack of productivity?
That's the typical ones are the memory loss, the brain fog, as I call it, like where you're easily sidetracked and not
Hmm.
remembering. It takes you a minute. This is one of those. We've all walked into the same room 4 times and forgotten why we go there.
Yeah.
Right? Similarly with work, when we let ourselves get distracted and pulled in these different directions, and then we're coming back to whatever our task is, and we have to refocus, and we're like, what am I doing? And then it's very disconnected. And so it's having that inability to focus,
Mm,
that being distracted in the brain fog of it all, plus irritability. When we have so much
Mm,
to do and we're overwhelmed, we're irritated. You see it in all the movies, the TV. I'm sure everyone sees it, whether it's the office, your business. You're in the
yeah,
middle of doing something, someone comes in and needs something, and you're like, oh.
yeah,
Like,
it's constant distraction.
right? So you're super irritable. You have no interest in anything really because you're so exhausted. All you want to do is make it through the day and
Mm,
just like make it to the couch or make it to bed. And that's your goal, is just to survive the day. And
mm,
yeah, so I think if you're feeling like hiding and isolating, you're feeling pretty antisocial, you're feeling irritable, you're not finding the joy, you're just like, yeah, I think the irritability is the big one.
mm. And this is something that I find that it kind of sneaks up on you. Like you don't realize it, right? You're not watching a video of your own life to see how you're responding day to day. But you may, if you think back, you may catch yourself saying, "Oh, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm sleepy. I want to get to bed." And you may have had 10 hours of sleep or 9 hours, 8 hours. You may have actually had enough. But those of you listening right now, take a poll, take an assessment, because I was there at one point. It was just like I felt like I was like I was doing so much when in reality it wasn't really. And like it was like, oh, I'm so tired and exhausted. What's really going on? And it really was when things were just out of alignment in this, and like some of those signs, like it took working with a therapist and you know, some people intervening even to say like, hey, it was, something's going on, what's going on. So that's a really great point to just kind of notice when stress, anxiety, overwhelm was kind of sneaking up on you. So if you're listening right now and you're probably seeing like, wait a minute, I am probably saying some of these words, or I am feeling this way at a few times, go ahead and take that assessment and make the change. So I want to ask you, right, because there's other things that, when we think of being irritable, it really kind of puts people in just what are probably like a constant state of worry and anxiety. Like how does that impact an entrepreneur's ability to actually enjoy running their business?
Well, a big part of it that we don't realize is that when we're worried, when we have stress, when we have anxiety, that's all a negative thought process. That's like dark and negative thinking.
Mm,
And when we're in that space, it's impossible. Like it's that, light and dark. So if we're in the dark negative, we cannot be positive, right? And positivity is creativity, imagination. That's where our growth comes from. That's where we think to expand our business. How else can I make money? What other great ideas?
that's
But if we're
powerful.
busy, right, anxiety, stress, and we're just encompassed with all of that, how can we possibly, think of new things because we're just trying to survive what we have now.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
it's yeah, it's quite big. And then you think of the last time you had some big anxiety and worry, and then you try to actually think of something else or like brainstorm or even just think of a conversation, you get pulled right back, and it
Mm,
kind of takes over everything, right? And that's all you can do. Actually, my favorite just popped in my head. Being in the vehicle with my boyfriend, and I was worried about something, and he would try and change the subject, and I'd be like, uh huh, uh huh. But anyway, back to that,
yeah.
right? And I'm sure we've all
Just
had
pulling
that
right
with our
back.
parents. And so just think of how much you could miss out in your business, wasting
Mm,
time, worrying.
mm. Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Hope everyone listening right now, you're taking a little bit of assessment on, and this is none of this we're talking about right now is to um put any kind of shame or guilt or anything like that. It's a very important topic, and it's one of those things is where when you have awareness of what's really going on, that's when you can make a big change. And I'm hopeful that today's conversation is going to already elicit a change with you. And Sonja is going to be a really great resource for you too as well. So just kind of let's take this a little further, right? So we talked about the productivity, we talked about the state of worry and just like being in anxiousness and how that really impacts running the business. Um, the next layer of that is just kind of hitting with overwhelming stress. So like what are some of the challenges you see the entrepreneurs face when it comes to dealing with like, they're already in this state, right? But now they're dealing with unexpected circumstances, and then just the overwhelming stress of that. What are some of the biggest challenges you see that they face?
Yeah, you know what? And just thinking about back to my days of overwhelm, where anything unexpected would come up. And because our buckets are full already, it's
Mm,
just, it's like in that moment, we can't. You're just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And you like run around and you're thinking and you spend all day, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? But the unfortunate fact is, we're so anxious over it. And the
mm,
stress, we allow the stress to come in that again, we can't properly problem solve. And we're actually inadvertently focusing on that problem. Like, I can't believe this happened. Like,
mm,
um, one of my clients was doing her anyway, bad accountant, and the taxes weren't being paid right, so she got a hefty bill, and she's just like freaking out, and that like, holy crap, how am I
wow.
going to pay this, how am I going to pay this? But in thinking, how am I going to pay this, she was just thinking about the actual bill, not having the money, and the fact that she was going to have to pay it. She wasn't actually
Mm-hmm,
thinking how to come up with that money.
mm-hmm,
And that's that stress, that overwhelm controlling us,
mm,
where it's like it doesn't allow us to problem solve. And because we're already overwhelmed, I don't know if anyone, I've had lots of my clients relate with this, so maybe some of the viewers, where I remember one morning making my breakfast and I opened the fridge and we're out of eggs. I
oh
ate
no.
eggs every morning. Now, oh my God, eat some cereal, have some toast, who cares? But it was out of my routine. It was something that came up unexpected. I lost my
Mm,
mind. Like, what am I going to eat instead of just grabbing the bread? Like,
mm-hmm,
I made it a big thing because I just overflowed my bucket. It's like, no matter how big the drop is, if your bucket's full, the
mm-hmm.
tiniest drop overflows you.
That's
And we
true.
go into, right? And if they're like me, I would go into this rampage. It's embarrassing now, but like, my whole day's ruined. Oh my God, I don't have eggs. What am I gonna eat? I can't believe my boyfriend did this to me. Like,
Start blaming him, right?
well, and that's it, because we have so much emotion, so much everything. It's like you
Hmm.
gotta throw it out somewhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Mm,
it really is just the realization later in life, like literally what you said, we don't know what we're going through. Like, I think back, and in those moments, I truly thought I was handling everything really well. I did.
mm.
And I look back and I was like, holy man, you were a hot mess. Like, I don't even know how
Yeah.
your boyfriend stayed with you. You were like, you were a little crazy.
So
So
like that's really a good point though. Like the biggest challenge really faces that you can't really problem solve. And it's really one of the biggest, in my experience, one of the best ways I've solved problems by asking the right questions to myself, or having a coach ask me the right questions. So when we're in that state of just overwhelm and just unexpected circumstances, we're trying to deal with them. We're not asking the right questions that can really set us back. So I think we brought a lot of awareness. I think the viewer is very much aware to see, hey, you got the experience with this, and he's talking about. Let's hop into some specific strategies, right? Can you just walk us through a few specific strategies that entrepreneurs can use to actually improve their focus and productivity, even when things get like crazy hectic?
I think the basic one thing, which is the absolute best, aside from getting organized, because we need to get organized. That's like big time. But the
Mm,
biggest thing to always ask yourself, how can I fix this? I know people are not going to believe me, but swear to God, you can get rid of anxiety literally by asking, can I fix this?
mm,
I remember the first time my boyfriend asked me this question, I was vacuuming, and I swear to God, I was going to strangle him with that vacuum. I could not believe he asked me such a stupid question. So I understand if people hear this and they're like, no. But truly, can you fix it? Because if you have no ability to impact the problem whatsoever, like there's a hurricane coming, you're not going
mm,
to stop the hurricane. So, how can you fix it? Well, I can do what I can to prepare, get
mm,
extra water, provisions, yada, yada. And then when I'm done problem solving, when there's nothing more for me to fix, it'll be what it'll be. I have to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And because again, like that hurricane, I'm not going to stop it. Like, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like you just practicing this ability to let it go what you cannot control,
Mm.
right? That you're stuck in traffic. Okay, if there's no alternative route, then it is what it is. Maybe there's an accident. You can't shove the cars out of the way. So sitting there in your car freaking out is not solving anything. You're wasting a ton of energy. You're putting yourself in this very sour mood. It's going to impact the rest of your day. And for what?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it seems silly. Honestly, everything I use, all my tools, they're very simple. They're not always easy, but they're very simple. And this is like the main basic one where can I fix it? If so, how? And then problem solve only. And as long
Mm-hmm.
as we're problem solving, we're being positive, we're being creative, we're in a good, healthy mindset. And then when that's done, then you let it go and you move on to something else because there's nothing left to solve. And stress is that same way. Things come up at work. Okay, it doesn't really matter what the problem is. Blaming people is not going to solve it. It's not going to help anyone's morale. It's not going to help anyone's emotions, energy, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to solve it? And if
Mm-hmm.
we just stick to that, things become very simple. If that
Gotcha. I
makes
like
sense.
that. Those some good questions to ask. So if you guys listen, write those down. Put it
Yeah.
somewhere so you can remember. Because I know how it is when I was in that place just dealing with just a overwhelming amount of stress. And it was like, oh, I got a great question, but an hour later, just like the stress can just come in its waves and knock it down. So have reminders around to help you to embed it in there, to make it a habit, to make it a part of your everyday life, to make it a part of your thought pattern, to where when something does happen, you're automatically, asking the question, can I fix this? Can I handle this? Versus, asking like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna handle this? How am I gonna, asking a question that puts you in a negative thought, um, or dark and negative thinking, but something is gonna
Mhm.
put you in light and positive
I like
thinking.
I always tell my clients I'm a big sticky note person. So I work on my laptop, and I know a lot of people do work on their phones, but I would say sticky notes, put it around your
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I use the mirror. If there's something that I have to really switch around, it's probably one of the first places I go in the morning. So it's a great reminder first thing in the morning. So, all right. So I love that a lot. And I want to be mindful of the time because we could probably sit and talk about this topic for a very, very long time. So we got one of the strategies for focus and productivity, even when things get hectic. Just asking us a better question. Put yourself in problem solving. So I love that. What are some tips you have for to find more joy and satisfaction? Because you mentioned earlier when you're in this place, you kind of become irritable. And I find that sometimes people, what they do is they give their best to like social media, they give their best to their clients on a call. But as soon as that's done, they're irritable, they're kind of cranky, they're not really in the best mood for the people who love and care about them the most. So, what are some tips you have so that way they can find that satisfaction um, in their work, and even on their most stressful day, they can actually have that satisfaction, that joy that they can spread to everybody else.
Well, a big part of that is positivity and gratitude. And that's something, it's a bit of a slow burn process, but you practice every single day. At least one thing positive and one thing you're grateful for every single day. If you can do more than that, that is awesome. But that
Mm-hmm.
is rewiring your brain, creating that habit of always finding that positive. Like oh, I'm stuck in traffic. Okay, but hey, I have extra time to listen to this audible I really want to listen to. Or hey, I have extra time to listen to music, or like just pulling out there's always a positive. And
Mm-hmm.
so just kind of training your mind to find that. And that it sounds kind of silly, but when we're just naturally prone to finding positives in everything, we're just naturally happier because we're always
Yeah, it's
looking on the
true.
bright side. The other thing is really, and it's uh, a little bit of a sidestep, but like really enforcing boundaries and also self-care. Like that's the biggest thing is it's like your cell phone. We get so depleted that I don't know if my phone's pretty old, but when battery gets too low, I can't use my camera anymore or play a
Mm.
video. Similarly, when our tanks are so low and we're so depleted, we do not function like we should. We cannot do all of the abilities we
Mm-hmm.
are capable of. And so just taking care of ourselves. And the biggest thing I will remind all the entrepreneurs, business people out there is our business is a reflection of ourselves. And if we're depleted, if we're low, if we're cranky and just like, half doing it,
Yeah.
um, it's that gets reflected in our business. We don't realize it, but especially when we're a business owner, entrepreneur, service provider, that's an extension, that's another baby, that's another limb, that's part of
Mm,
us. And if we're not 100%, we're not giving it 100%. And even for like my clients, I think, do my clients that, do they not deserve 100% of me? Even your
mm-hmm.
kids, does your family not deserve 100% of you? Does your business not deserve? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's taking
Absolutely.
that time to take care of yourself. That's going to put you in a great state of mind naturally in itself. You add a little positivity in there, you stay on a problem solving train, and a few boundaries later, and you're good.
I love that. That's awesome. So, I think we're coming to a little close here soon. I wanted to kind of pick your brain a little more. So those who listen, they kind of get the idea. A lot of it, they got to kind of reframe things, really take a look at their life and really analyze and see where they are and work to reframe those thoughts and really just keep themselves from going into the dark and negative. In your opinion, what's the most important mindset shift entrepreneurs need to make in order to really achieve stress-free success?
I think the biggest thing is to have your goal, your why, especially entrepreneurs. We have businesses for a reason, whether it's time freedom, family, whatever, financial freedom, whatever it might be. Maybe it's setting up for retirement. We all have a reason we have these businesses in place and we create them.
Mm,
And even if it's literally, God bless you, you're the person who's like, I literally just want to help millions of people. Great. But that's still a purpose. It's still a goal to help
mhm,
people, right? And to really have that why we're doing this. And you think, okay, like, why do I need to stay more positive? Why do I need to maybe get rid of my anxiety? It's for this. I need more time with my kids. I want to give them the vacations I never had. I want to retire at 50, not 70. Like, remember
mhm,
your why, because that's what drives us, and really hold that close to your heart when you really need to step into making these changes. And that mind shift, again, that's a positive thing. I mean, no one thinks like, oh, I want to retire at 50
yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
right? So our goals are always positive because that's what we desire. So if we're always thinking of that in the background, like, this is my why, again,
Mhm,
we're pulling ourselves away from that negative. Well, yeah, anytime, whether it's employees, clients, social media, tech issues, whatever you're having, you're like, hey, it's okay. This is all for my bigger purpose of having this business because I want this. And
mm,
I know just through my mentors and stuff, but I literally have my goal on my wall right in front of me. So I stare at it every day. And then you're having a moment and you can look up and be like, yes, that's right. That's why I'm doing this. And you're like, take your deep breath. All right, back at her. Let's problem solve.
yeah, keep it
I hope
top of
that,
mind. Love that.
yeah, that's the biggest, easiest way to make the first like mindset shift. The other one, honestly, I love the positivity and gratitude. It takes 3 weeks to form a habit, so it does take some time, but you will naturally become that positive person where you can always pull out
Mhm.
those bright sides. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key thing for
And
it. Like everyone has. I feel like everyone, including I'm just myself. I talk about myself. Like I feel like I'm a naturally consistent person, but I find that everybody is consistent, right? Everybody has something to do consistently. I guarantee, or you can look at it. You brush your teeth pretty consistently. You go and you have meals pretty consistently. There's things you eat pretty consistently. There's some consistency there, but what sometimes we when we've never practiced consistency on something that is was never really taught to us when we were young, and we have to do it ourselves now. You have to look and see how do you actually build consistency. And once you can actually figure out how you build consistency, you can use tips like Sonja gave tips. I can give you tips. You know, your next door neighbor can give you tips, but you have to also see what you do really well and build your consistency with it, because that's where you can now say, oh wow, I have a meditation practice, I have a self-care routine, because you use your method of consistency to be able to help you. One of the things I do is I set alarms. I just make it easy. I'll set an alarm on my phone and schedule it out so that way I know, hey, every single morning at 10 o'clock, I'm taking my vitamins. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
So I'm never hungry at 10 because I would have already eaten and all that stuff. So it's a great time to do it. So, and it builds up that consistency for me. So this is like a minor example there, but really think about what you can do to really, you know, in order to like pull all this here together, your own level of consistency. So, Sonia, I appreciate you sharing all these just bits of information and tips today. Someone listening is, you know, analyzing it. They're probably getting some aha moments saying, oh, wow, you know, I am that person who kind of, someone disturbs me. I kind of give the big loud sigh. And then it takes me 20, 30 minutes to get refocused if they get refocused. And this probably brought a lot of awareness to them, or someone's like feeling like they're overwhelmed. Oh, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add to touch on when we very first started what you had said about like we're not here to shame people and stuff, and that's a big thing because when you're in that state, and especially with that irritability factor, and you just have so much going on, to sit down and look at yourself in the mirror and say like this could be me, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a roundabout way of saying I need help, and apparently help is a four-letter word now. So to just sit down with zero judgment, today's a new day, it doesn't matter your past, it doesn't matter how you got here, just to realize where are you today, do you want to stay there, or do you want to make changes for tomorrow? And that's it. No judgments, no shame, no how, no who's to,
Mm-hmm.
there's no blame, but just to be, I guess I'll say, give yourself grace to acknowledge if you have these issues. And that's okay. Because most of us, well, I did for sure. You said you did. And I'm going to say, so most of us do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it could be just a season. It may not be your personality, who you are, but it could just be a season right now. It's due to that just being overwhelmed. Like you're building a business, being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. It's not for the weak. It takes a lot of time, energy, effort, and things come up at different levels of success. If you're a new coach and you're just building your business, just building your offer, things are going to come up for you, but you're going to deal with imposter syndrome, or feel like you're, you know, who are you? Even when you hit multiple six figures, going to seven figures, these things start coming up for you. So, you know, when all of us are not exempt from any of this, and the seasons come. So, I enjoyed our conversation today, and I don't want to give anybody you know, the exit without giving them an opportunity to share how we can actually connect with you more, hear more about this. Honestly, we just scratched a little tiny bit of the surface. This is where you just turn on the TV, you watch a little preview of a show, and you're like, I gotta see that series. And then you turn it off and you walk away. But we want to give you a chance to continue that journey. So Sonia, tell us how we can get a hold of you. Do you have a resource you'd like to share with us? Something that someone can say, hey, I want to do this work, I want to take it and continue it further, that they can hop right to that.
Yeah, so I am most active on Facebook. I only created a LinkedIn page a little while ago, so I'm still figuring all that out. And I'm sure those who have joined LinkedIn late in life are understandable of that. So
Yeah.
Facebook is my go-to for sure. And then I do have a daily work-life balance checklist of things that are kind of your basics that'll help you. You know, I have positivity and gratitude one every morning, little things, and it's fillable, so you can have it on your phone or
Oh,
tablet and
perfect.
literally click the check boxes. Yeah, super easy, keep it simple. And just throughout the day, there's the kind of morning routine, we'll say, daily, follow your schedule, afternoon, evening. And then at the very bottom, I do have a anxiety check-in. Can you fix it? As a little reminder.
Hmm.
If anyone wants to grab that, it is free. So that's kind of a nice little free resource to help get you started. And even if you take that and you adjust it to fit your work schedule or your life, but just to, yeah, it's a little starting point that is easy to use.
Awesome. Well, that's great. But how do we find you? What are you on Facebook? What do we
Oh yeah,
search to get you on Facebook? And what's the link to that resource?
my resource. Do you want me to put it in the chat?
No, you could just say it.
Or
It's a
okay, so it
podcast,
is.
so we listen.
So yes, I'm sorry, I'm not used to everything so virtual and video nowadays.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
I am SonjaLDcoaching.net/daily checklist backslash. I
Awesome.
always get those confused.
Yeah, it's slash. Yeah, slash. I think I know there's two slashes, but in my mind there's really only one. I don't ever use the other slash. I can't even find it on the keyboard, to be honest with you. Where's the other slash on the keyboard? Oh, there it is. It's right above the enter. How about that?
It is.
I've never
And
used that
then,
before.
right? I mean, I think, well, we won't talk about that. That's another story.
Yeah.
Backslash uses. But yeah, and then on Facebook, I am Sonja LD is my name. And you should,
Perfect.
my user profile, I've got a banner of palm trees because we're living in Mexico now. And so yeah, I have to, but yeah, Facebook, I've got my, you can grab my SonjaLDcoaching.net/daily checklist and grab that. And then, yeah,
Awesome.
please feel free, reach out to me, message me, post on my profile. I have a free Facebook group for a little extra help. I have a paid Facebook group too, where you get extra help. But yeah, just connect with me, ask me questions. I'm pretty much an open book, literally just here to help. I remember those overwhelmed days. And just to put it plainly, like it sucks. It's not good. Like the struggle is real. And I know now it doesn't have to be that way. So yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. I was giving you a little bit of a hard time because I will post those links in the notes and stuff like that. So look at all that. So before we wrap up, I always like to ask my guests just for one last thing. So I'll ask you just, what is one piece of advice, one final piece of advice you have for or you want to give to any of the entrepreneurs listening who are just struggling to balance the demands of their business with their own well-being, with their own self-care?
At the end of the day, it really is priority. Like you have to decide that you matter. You have to decide that, you need to be well for your business, well for your family. Like you need to just make your priorities because the number one thing, the very beginning when I go over my clients is organizing, creating a schedule, listing priorities. And there's only so many hours in a day, like hard truth. That's it. And you can only accomplish so much. So trying to keep your schedule and adding more and more and thinking you're somehow going to, Superman your way through the list is not effective. And that's why we get overwhelmed because day one, we're down 2 tasks. Day two, we're down 4 tasks. By the end of the week, we're crying into our pillow because we don't have time to, sip our coffee because we think everything needs to get done. So just take a hard look and decide what are top 3 things business. You need at least one self-care a day, even if it's 10 minutes staring out the window, drinking your coffee. Like, and just decide what actually matters in your life.
That's good. It can be a tough one to swallow sometimes for some people. If that's you, if you're having a tough time with that, that's okay, right? A lot of us do, but it's a great piece of advice. So there you have it, everybody. Thank you, Sonja, for being here. That is stress-free success, really just how to relax while thriving in business. And it really comes down to reclaiming and bringing awareness to a lot of stuff we talked about today, to where, if you are struggling with productivity, when you build awareness to the reason why, you can switch that around. If you're feeling like you're not really having the level of enjoyment or joy when you're spending time with your family or in your business, start looking around at what the worry and what the anxiety is and the questions you're really asking yourself. And if you are just unexpected circumstances or overwhelming stress that really comes up, there is a way, there is a method. Sonja has literally given us the tools today to really start making a change. So even a little bit of information you give today can take you a far way. Don't forget to connect with her on for her checklist. That's sonjaLDcoaching.net/daily checklist, and connect with her on Facebook so you can actually get some more ongoing encouragement. And if you're really saying, hey, I'm sick and tired and I really want to get this done, just connect with her. I'm pretty sure she'd be happy to take you on as a client. So definitely go ahead and do that. And again, thank you all so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to this on any podcast platform, and also share with a friend if you think someone that you may potentially know that is starting the journey and they haven't really realized yet a lot of the overwhelming the struggles and the challenges that will come up as an entrepreneur. We hope that this will shed some light so that way they can see, hey, there's a door just a few feet to the left. You don't got to keep running into the wall, trying to bang your head through. And again, my name is Arfan. Thank you so much for joining today, and we will catch you on the next episode. Thank you. Bye, everyone.